Acting and live performance have been a part of human society since the beginning. From the time of the caveman, acting things out was a method of entertainment and a way to get a point across to many people. Theater started taking the shape that we know it as today in classical Greek society. The Greeks were one of the first cultures to have theater be one of their main pastimes. It is from Greek that we get many terms still commonly used in theater today. Even the word theater comes from the Greek theatron, meaning behold. During Roman times, some new forms of live entertainment were developed. While the classic Greek drama was still popular, gladiator fighting also became an incredibly popular spectator sport, which incorporated a lot of dramatic elements. In fact, some gladiators were the celebrities of the age. During the Dark Ages and medieval times, church-run holy plays were one of the few sources of entertainment that a depressed populace had. And at that time period, the plays and dramas about saints were considered educational. After the Middle Ages, the arts became increasingly popular. Not only painting and sculpture had a boom during the Renaissance. In Italy, the opera became a viable art form as there were so many more people with musical training compared to the Middle Ages. In England, plays and the like were the most popular thing to see besides public execution. Throughout most of human history, some variation of live theater has been the dominant form of entertainment in society. But with the 20th century, that started to change. Just before the invention of the movie, there were two popular types of theater. There was low and high theater. Low theater was mainly for the common people, the poor, and it included things like vaudeville. High theater was the more classic plays and operas and ballets. But then the period of new tech entertainment started in the early 1900s with the invention of the movie. The first reaction was for people to dismiss the innovation. They said, "Oh, these newfangled moving pictures will never be popular. This trend will die out soon enough." But rather than dwindle and die, the audience for the newest in entertainment grew bigger and bigger. People began to think that there was no way that theater could contend. Theater was bound to die out within the next 10 years, and yet theater was still there. But interestingly enough, the form of low theater that was popular before the advent of the movie did die out. The poor just didn't want to see vaudeville-esque shows anymore, partially because movies struck a similar axis to what vaudeville had been doing. In fact, many popular vaudeville actors like Charlie Chaplin transitioned into movies. But high theater remained very popular for the rich. That type of theater just had a lot of good qualities that movies couldn't replace. Then, there was a new innovation. In October of 1927, the movie The Jazz Singer was released. And to everyone's surprise, there was audio. You could hear the people on screen talking. How could live theater contend now? What advantages does live theater have over the big screen? And while movies increased in popularity, and theater decreased in popularity, theater still remained very much alive. Movies in full color, same scenario. VCRs, compact discs, same scenarios, but with another slight change. The ability to watch movies at home was quite an achievement. Now you could watch any movie that you wanted in peace and comfort. Despite all these advances in entertainment technology, theater has still remained a well-known and viable option for entertainment. So I suppose the question is live theater even in danger of dying out? Let's get into exactly what downsides live theater has. One fairly obvious downside that you see when you are considering going to see a live theater show, be it opera, a ballet, a play, or a musical, is the price. Tickets to a professional live theater show generally don't get cheaper than $30 and can get up to $450 depending on the seats you get and the specific show. According to CinemaBlend.com, the average cost of a movie ticket is around $8. That is significantly cheaper. And if you really want to, you can watch all the movies you want on Netflix for $8 a month, all in the comfort of your own home. And that brings us to the next downside that live theater has. Comfort. Why would you want to go outside when you can just stay inside and watch YouTube videos, or a TV show, or play some video games? When you're going to see a movie, at least you're not generally expected to get dressed up. When you go and see a live performance, you are generally expected to get dressed up, and then drive or take a bus to the theater. And who doesn't mind getting dressed up? Old people. And nowadays, seniors are the main audience for live theater. There's just too much other stuff for youth to do nowadays. Why would they want to go with a bunch of old fogies to see a special effects-less performance that costs so much money? They could just stay at home, snapping their tweets and facing their books. Technology has just progressed past theater. Or has it? Ed Decker, the artistic director at the New Conservatory Theater Center, a small, non-profit theater in San Francisco, says that it has always been hard to get kids to go to the theater. It's not only a problem of the present day, it's always been a problem. Theater does have some draws, though, over other forms of entertainment. So what is better about plays, musicals, operas, and ballets acted out live than watching an amusing video online? The thing about live shows is there's an actual presence in front of you. What is unfolding is happening in your time and space. As Taylor Storr of the Antioch Post says, we have only to close our eyes and turn down the volume to realize how mechanical they, non-live forms of entertainment, are. When a performance is live, the performer is always aware of what is happening and is constantly adjusting to the audience. Also, it is hilarious when someone makes a mistake on stage. Some of the most well-known and funniest skits on Saturday Night Live, the live sketch comedy show, are when the actors break down into laughter. Another aspect that Storr comments on is the concept of complete immersion. When you see a movie, they try and get you into a trance-like state. The lights are turned completely off so as to try and avoid letting you see other audience members. The audience making any noise at all is frowned upon, to the extent that the ushers will see you out if they think you are making too much of a ruckus. In a live performance, audience participation is encouraged. While the lights are dimmed to make sure that you can see the actors, they are plenty bright enough to be aware of audience members beside you. And if you think an actor did a particularly good job, feel free to start clapping, hooting, or hollering. In a movie, this behavior would be considered crazy, but it's the norm in theater. It's actually possible for the actor to interact with an audience and to play off the audience's energy. If the audience acts in a certain way, the performer can acknowledge it and react accordingly. There's also an aspect of community in theaters. A small, local theater is largely reliant on the community to stay running, which means that a healthy portion of your local community must have a hand in keeping it afloat. This may include volunteering or something more like donating, but whatever it is, it does help to build a sense of community. A sense that you belong where you are. A sense that you are taking part in the ownership of this place. A bunch of people working together to make a theater as successful as it can build acquaintances and friendships that could last forever. And this type of community building is becoming rarer and rarer. Yet despite all these benefits to live theater, it's still an art form in decline. So what are some solutions to the problem of live theater's decline in this new age of technology? Well, I recently had the opportunity to see the Bolshoi Ballet perform live in Moscow, in a movie theater in Daly City. I'm sure that you've seen advertisements for Fathom events in the theaters. They stream live operas and the like straight to your local movie theater, and for a much cheaper price than it would cost to go see the actual opera. The problem with this is, the people who go to see the opera in movie theaters are the same people who go to see the opera in real life. An older crowd who sometimes brings their families, and the occasional student trying to do some research. So these live productions don't really expand the audience for theater. Some small theaters, like NCTC, are making use of social media in order to try and reach a wider audience. It's far easier to spread news online, and the more people who hear about an event, the more people will come to the event. Kirby Malone of American Theater Magazine advises that theaters must embrace the technosphere. He is a large advocate of live movies, live plays that use a large amount of special effects, mainly the technique of projecting images onto the stage. Many theaters have not tried any new technique to save their businesses, preferring instead to stick to old techniques and hope that theater survives. But the unique type of performances and community built by these live theaters is dwindling, and it is crucial that this important cultural aspect to our community be saved by any method necessary. One, two, three.
What is oh? What? You let me break between. Okay.
Go.
What? You're done?
Yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
That was not that difficult. You said it was gonna be longer. Felt like you said it was gonna be longer.
Should we stop recording now?
Oh, success.